Hello guys and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II. War in Europe. That's right. I have to do everything in my power to not say world at war. My very best. But we've already done our stuff with Poland. Poland has stayed alive surprisingly long for how it usually goes in this game. Very little to do with the Soviets. We're going to keep moving up, I suppose, preparing maybe some kind of like forward defense zone in the front of Ukraine, especially because some of this stuff will become mine as well. I'm not sure where it's really going to end up. We've already gotten one army over here. I can send another one over to Zitomir. It's surrounded by woods. Our new engineers can go ahead, set their mode to fortify. We're just going to do forward facing twice. Yes, just forward facing twice. It's only 40 days to do that. Any other sides, it's an additional 20 days per side. One less side and it's still 40 days. So 2 sides facing west. That's what we need. 181 MPPs. If I want to get that second engineer in, then now's the time. They'd arrive by April 3rd, 1940. That would give them some time to work, all right. Yeah. If I do want to get that other engineer, that's a tempting one. This guy can probably manage this and then some other things. But somebody to operate down south, setting up defenses, or even around Moscow and things like that, would be useful as well. Just a matter of, do I want to get infantry weapons researching first, or do I want to get an engineer being purchased first? I think I'll go with the engineer. Even though I feel like I know better, I think I'll go with the engineer to get as many defenses set up as is humanly possible with the USSR, assuming we will get attacked. We didn't get attacked in World at War, but I think we just got supremely lucky. Let's not bank on luck this time. The BEF is up front without infantry weapons, but they have every other potential upgrade. Let's go ahead and reinforce every one of these guys to max. The army was at 8, the corps both at 5, and voila, they are doing much, much better. We have... That's interesting. Lord Gort, he'll finish... well, I might be able to squeeze in some research if I don't reinforce him right now. It feels like a pretty decent time to go ahead and research infantry warfare. It's a one-off research, and we have infantry in France. I don't know if it'll be done in time, but I'll go ahead and research that. That's 27 remaining. So we can go ahead, and we'll go get Lord Gort on Paris for right now. Just to have him, you know, somewhere. Get him on Paris. That leaves only 27 MPPs, which is not exactly a lot, to say the least. We'll go ahead and move some guys around. I'll get the Malaya battleship up north. I'll actually get it in this port right here. We have the Ark Royal carrier showing up. I guess we could go ahead and move you up there. Move you right there to Portsmouth. Move you... I guess right here? Yeah, move you over here. There you go. And then there's just this guy who I think can just use a Frenchy port. So let's just dock him at this Frenchy port. Could have used one down here probably, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. 27 MPPs remaining. Not a lot that I can do with that. Upgrades on ships are quite expensive, not really in the budget right now. Otherwise, we're just sitting, chilling, waiting. I could reinforce a little bit these tactical bombers, but only a little bit, and then that's it. So I guess we'll go ahead and do that. The Frenchies can shift this corps into the Maginot front line, now at 5 entrenchment, and shift this one into the front line, now at 4 entrenchment, freeing up these 2 armies. I'll move you down this way, and this one cannot actually move just yet, so he'll have to wait to get into position proper. Then we have some other things to set up. 127 MPs remaining. It's going to pretty much all go into reinforcements for right now. So let's start with these armies up here. We want them to be as healthy as possible. And that's basically all the MPPs already. All right. Well, we'll get one more onto the 4th army here. I really need to get Gamelin up. Gamelin needs some reinforcing as well. That's 3 MPPs remaining. That's most of everything. Haven't even moved any of these anything down here. We're going to keep moving eastwards with the 2nd garrison here. Try to get him to Tunis. As we know, we do have something coming in down here. Oh, and I did not reinforce anything down here with the Brits. Well, I guess I'll reinforce one thing while I have a little bit of MPPs remaining. I totally forgot that those guys were even down there. Regardless, nothing else really to do. That's pretty much a full turn already, except for America can get some research going. They don't have indie tech going. Let's go ahead and get the indie tech going and then just leave them alone for right now, pretty much. Going ahead and hitting end turn. There are tens of thousands of Spanish Republicans living in internment camps in the south of France. Some of these already enlisted in the Foreign Legion. We could make use of many more by using them to assist in the work of improving our fortifications. Although many of these exiles are political undesirables, putting them to work would enable us to get some use out of them, while also helping improve our country's defenses. At the cost of 50 MPPs from the men held in internment camps, we could raise a half-strength engineer unit at Perpignan in the southwest. It would then need to be moved to the north so we could commence work on constructing fortifications facing possible German lines of advance. Would you like to authorize the recruitment of Spanish Republicans to serve as engineers? Yes, sir. That's a very cheap engineer unit, one way or another. George Elser attempts to kill Hitler in the Munich beer hall. Yeah. Tech. So much tech progressing already. I'll take an engineer, sure. Sounds good to me. Bordeaux's still slowly going up, but places like Toulouse and whatnot, they haven't gotten any supply yet. Neither has the mine at Saint Etienne. I assume there's an event where all just kind of like turns on. I feel like France earns more MPPs in this than they earned in World at War anyway. They're trying very hard to bomb me, but not getting any kills. They might be lowering the entrenchments, though. The tank actually went all around to deal with this core that I reinforced. And with both of them combined, they are going to shatter that core, as to be expected. Now all that remains are the two armies, and I did successfully entice some of the opponents to going after the army that moved off of Krakow, distracting them. They have claimed Krakow now and killed that army, but they have been distracted from Warsaw. Meaning, assuming we don't surrender due to morale and lack of units, as of right now, we're dealing even more damage. These Poles are holding out and dealing a ton of damage to the Germans that are attacking them. Now, they've lost way more than they've dealt, mind you. But look at all this damage coming in from the Modlin army. Still dealing damage. At this point, they're completely out of their entrenchment, but they are still dealing damage. Look at this. And barely taking any. That is incredible. I can't believe they're doing so well. I cannot believe it. You have all these HQs and everything popping up. They did all the bombing, everything in their power to try to get rid of Warsaw and Modlin there. And they failed. It is now raining, and we're going to be going on to a 5th turn, potentially, with the Poles alive. I didn't even know this was possible. There's the garrison for Egypt. Let's go put that on Cairo. And Halifax in Canada will get a destroyer. But let's move this other destroyer northeast first to the Sydney mines. Yep. And then we'll go ahead and place this at Halifax, this destroyer. These Canadians, which will help us. We need to get them some ASW capabilities, though. Looks like due to the sheer number of fortifications here, Modlin Army, Modlin Fortress, how convenient. It can't actually go under 3 entrenchments, so I'll just get it back up to 10. It still has, look at this, it has experience now, so it's going to do even better in combat. The Prussian army is defending Warsaw. Thankfully, they haven't been going after it because it's far more vulnerable, and that's all that really needs to die in order for us to lose Poland. But it is now late November, and they're still trying to take Poland and failing, which is absolutely hysterical, I find. Not that Poland will survive still, but it's giving me a lot of time to prepare. Because by this point, if they had done this in 2 turns, they could be invading Belgium and the Netherlands already. And that is generally how you would do this kind of thing. Invading it already or just about to invade it. But they still have to wipe this out and then operate to the west, prepare if they're going to, and then go ahead and invade. This puts them in position for a winter invasion, which is really, truly no good for them. Now let's see, the Brits have 275 MPPs. Let's immediately use this to reinforce up to 10 the 2 armies that are down here while I remember, before I waste those MPPs on something else. We will reinforce Lord Gort up to 10 as well. That brings us down to 196. The Frenchies only have 73 because they're preparing that engineer unit. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. We can reinforce as much as possible the Gamelin HQ, and I will go ahead and do that. That leaves us only 19 MPPs remaining here. And I think I'll put one of those... Ooh, it's hard to pick, actually, but we'll go actually for the 4th Army here. Supply everywhere is looking pretty hot. Pretty hot, for sure. I will force march the 8th Army... Force march the 5th Army, getting them going west to their defensive positions. Depending on how this goes, it might even be worth pushing up from some of these positions, because some of these are not very defensible, namely over by Dunkirk, not very defensible at all, nor right here next to Reims either. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Just because they're taking a long time to kill Poland doesn't change the fact that they vastly outnumber us and do out-tech us as well. And the Frenchies are not researching any better infantry tech. They're only just trying to get their army ready for war. With the Brits, I will reinforce the Parthian sub up to full. That leaves us with 146. We will take O'Connor here, and we will move him. I like how it's actually an Egyptian unit, too. It's not like a British flag. That's different than World at War. I'll move O'Connor forward towards the border here. Yeah, we don't want to let them push in by any means. That will kick off stuff in Iraq, which we don't want since we're getting stuff from them, and I can't just preemptively send Indians because we don't have India. No idea how something like that is going to play out, honestly. The Americans can get some production tech research going, so I will get them that. The Brits can get a little bit of more tech going in, and I think I'll go ahead and get that. We'll make it some anti-air. I'd say that'll hurt our ability with bombers for a little while, but anti-air is going to be more important against these damn Germans, leaving us with 36 MPPs remaining. That is not a whole lot. We'll go ahead and spend it on our one tactical bomber that we do have, getting it up to 8, 5 MPPs remaining. And then if we look over by the Soviets, the only thing we have to really do is continue to get these units into position. Well, they're actually probably as in position as I could hope for right now, so let's go ahead and just move this guy down to Ostrov, and then move this guy down to Luga, get him down to Pskov sooner rather than later, and that's already a whole nother turn. I feel like we're just flying through the turns now that there's not an entire, like, Chinese front and then some to worry about. Feels like we're flying right through these damn turns. Go ahead and hit end turn, see the tech we're making progress on, and winter's here. So they're going to have to attack in the winter or wait till the end of it at this point. 70 MPPs from Iraq. Jesus. I feel like the MPPs everybody's earning, Soviets aside, is higher. Soviets and America aside is higher. The European powers are given more power in this, it feels like. Russia and America aside, of course. Now they have to do this attack, all these bombings and everything. They have to do these now in the winter. That's hilarious. Their tanks taking damage, trying to blitz attack, taking damage. They have to repair all of this, too. This is coming out of their budget. They're not losing so much that they can't outpace it with what they're earning, but still, every little bit of damage counts. Every turn counts, because that's every turn that they're not taking over the Low Countries, that they don't have all of Poland, that they don't have things in France. Look at them still trying to attack, still failing and taking damage. This is hysterical. What is this? This is on normal difficulty, guys. I can't on easy difficulty if you like debuff them or something. If that's gave them a debuff to their combat roll, this would be even funnier. You could never pull this off in World at War. I'm fairly confident. They've just completely encircled Poland. Now the thing is, these Polish hexes will get encircled and lose all of their supply. Grafsbury scuttled following the Battle of the River Plate. What battle? There was no battle. Gone with the Wind released in US cinemas. Sounds like something my friend would know, but I don't know what this is. Yeah, Warsaw and Modlin will eventually run out of supply at this rate, but now we're going on 6 turns. We're going to go on 6 turns. It's December, for fuck's sake, man. Well, actually, as of right now, we have 10 supply at each of these. Them surrounding it hasn't done jack shit to lower our supply, incredibly. I wonder why that is. Not a clue. Polish morale is aching at 17%, down from 25% earlier. If they just cleaned up everything else, I wonder if they could successfully take it over. I have no idea. Oh, there's a garrison up here. I didn't even know that Polish garrison was up there. Well, I I guess it could just stay there. It's not going to help by getting closer. It's just going to die. Yeah, it's just going to die. It can't go... It could go, like, here and then take up defenses, I guess. We'll reinforce the Prussian army, but this is down to 1 entrenchment. So if they just focus this, which they'd be smart to do, they'd get some stuff done, man. They would. This doesn't even have enough supply to really operate it, so it's just going to chill out. It'd be cool to get it on Brest-Litovsk, but kind of irrelevant at this point. Well, that's Poland. That's effectively Russia as well. Let me just move you down towards Pskov. That's Russia. And now for France and Britain. So, Francie boy, we're going to go ahead and reinforce every single army up to 10. There you go. Get the HQ up to 10 as well. These guys are nice and set up. 19 MPPs remaining is not a lot, but hey. We'll go spend that 19 MPP right here on the fighters. Give it a +1. Keep moving this guy east to relieve the guy at Tunis. This only matters so long as the Italians are, like, not in the war. Once they're in the war, they could easily push west from Tripoli if they wanted to. That's entirely up to them. I don't see how we would ever counter that without using these guys, but Algeria, not as important as France, and these are French units. These are all French units. For the Brits, there's not a lot we could do for research, so I'll just get amphibious warfare, because in the long run, we will need that. Brings us down to 184. We're almost at the point where we could just start looking at buying units already, but I don't think that is necessarily going to be the plan. I was curious to compare, and at least this early on, Germany is actually earning only slightly more MPPs than the UK. France is not earning nearly enough. America and the Soviets are barely earning anything, and Poland is barely earning anything. It's kind of even, except for the fact that the Axis do start out with a technological advantage, so it can't really stay even. The Germans have just spent a ton of money, a ton of their MPPs on units, it would look like. And we can even see their research. They've only queued up a single research compared to me researching like crazy. So I don't know what they're spending it on entirely. They're certainly losing a lot of MPPs worth. Look, they've actually lost half of what they've earned since the beginning in the invasion of Poland. Poland has lost way more, mind you, but they're really managing to hold out quite well and give them quite a bloody lip. I will give an upgrade to this corps in Egypt to have some mobility. I'll move O'Connor just 1 hex forward to allow the others to try to catch up. We will upgrade in Malta with some anti-air defense. That's the main stat to defend Malta with. So we're definitely going to go ahead and do that. 144 MPs remaining. I think a lot of this should go into modernizing the Navy. That sounds like the best thing to me. Hell, there's aircraft missing on this carrier. Let's go ahead and reinforce that. But yeah, I think a lot of this MPP should go into modernizing the Navy with the idea that France will probably fall. Ideally, we will have the Brits escape the BEF, and they will be rerouted either to Africa or to Greece. Either way, we might send the Navy on a big splurge down here. Maybe buy a bunch of Greeks at that point. But the Navy stuff has to be taken care of as soon as possible in order to enable some kind of operation like that. So with that in mind, we should probably get to work. So this is a battleship, anti-air, naval weaponry, there you go. Carrier, naval weaponry, and fighters, there you go. Very, very expensive. Is there a cheaper thing that I could try to do as well? Probably not. Maybe if I shift in a destroyer. Anti-air naval weaponry. Yeah. Alright. That's 14 MPPs remaining. The modernization of the Navy is beginning. This will help us against the Italian fleet eventually for asserting our dominance in the Mediterranean. And potentially allowing us to replicate what happened with Greece in my World at War playthrough. Ideally. I could also try to pour more into France since they're taking so long with Poland, but I really don't think that's going to work out. The German AI is scripted, I believe, to build up against the Soviets, and they will try to do that. They will have to go through Yugoslavia, and that's just going to put more roadblocks in that it's going to have to prepare for. It's a bit early to try to recruit a bunch of land units and dump them into France. France is too open to defend like that, honestly. France is mostly going to be a delaying factor. And all the money for land units will probably just go into buying Greek units initially. And that's if my plans work out remotely at all. You know, plans are a really fickle mistress in this game. They're already disrupting our convoys. Canada, UK, that was pretty fast. I don't have any ASW. I can just try to trade 1 for 1. There's a lot of tech. America just got logistics level 1. It's so weird not having those beginner events for sending MPPs to China. It's so weird to not have that at my disposal at the beginning of the game, I gotta say. Alright, let's see what the Germans have then. Other than already raiding me, which is to be expected. They're bombing Warsaw, specifically Warsaw. Yeah, that's gonna be at like 0 entrenchment. Morale and everything low as can possibly be. I didn't know those guys were at 9, or I would have reinforced them. Oh well. They are attacking, dealing some damage. Finally. These guys got a lot of XP, but now they're down to 6. They're cycling in everything they can. They're down to 5. Now going for Warsaw. Not dealing any damage on Warsaw. Warsaw has a lot of combat experience now. Finally took some damage. The tanks are reinforcing. That's really expensive. I can't believe it. Are we going to go on turn 6 of having Poland up? This is hysterical. This is absolutely hysterical. Man, maybe I should just be investing into France, right? USSR steps up its military production. That's hot. France raises a unit of engineers. Awesome. German paratroopers deploy at Hamburg. But to do what? Still snowing, but the ground snow has lifted. I still don't know which one really matters. And there's a lot of ships to deploy. At Brest, France, we have something. And we have Casablanca has a destroyer. We got to get this sub out of the way. I'll send it, say, right here to try to intercept any Axis units trying to go into the Mediterranean, just for now. And where do we have that raiding? Where is that? Canada, UK? Right there we have an enemy sub. All right. Well, there's not a lot I can do in preparation for that, because that's ASW, but I'll head in that direction. I guess with both of them. Just to counter, using the Canadian destroyers anyway. I think I forgot to move my French units last turn, which is unfortunate. But I can move them this turn. The 8th Army up and the 5th Army up. They are now in position. They need to do some recovering of readiness morale since they were force-marched. But we have all the time in the world because of how Poland's going. Speaking of, let's reinforce the unit in Warsaw to max and get as much into the one on Modlin as possible, though we are limited. So that one's only up to 8, the one at Warsaw is at 10, and they both have a lot of XP. Entrenchment is minimal, readiness and morale are minimal, but the fact that it's January of 1940 and they're still holding on, I never imagined anything like this was possible. Fighting AI or not. That's just crazy, man. Let me get you onto Pskov, this army right here. These are armies, so having them here instead of corps feels kind of weird. But this is temporary, right? Because eventually we will annex the Baltics, and that will be a front of its own. Looks like our engineers over here are done working. That is awesome. Means we got to get somebody on there, however, is what that means. I guess we could move some armies down there to try to help defend, especially ones that wouldn't otherwise be doing anything. So I could just move you here for now. Set mode, fortify. Same deal, construction time, 40 days. The army from Smolensk can start heading down there. I guess we could do 2 armies, because ideally we would move these up to Riga and then this fortress. Lithuania is probably a lost cause at the end of the day, but I'll start moving this guy down south to fill that other front line. I think that's good, and I'll just move you in his place, because you're probably going to move to that fortress. You're probably going to move down to Riga and try to hold those as choke points, strong points, and armies are pretty good for holding those kinds of things, I would think. Yeah, and then using Minsk as a strong point, as a choke point. I'm less certain about this defense here, but we have guys on a choke point, on several choke points, because we also have to worry about Romania, right? So that's a whole nother concern. Sevastopol, we're definitely not moving from. We don't want to just let them go right through Odessa. Well defended or not, we're going to need to buy more infantry for the USSR eventually. France will go ahead and reinforce these 2 corps that are going to be on the front here, and this one that's going to be right in the rear. With the British, that's 41 MPPs remaining. We can go ahead and get our fighters up to max for what that's worth. And then everything here of importance is leveled up, strengthened up. The tactical bombers are not, but that's kind of expensive for the French to be concerning themselves with. Now, we do have to concern ourselves with down here. Also, this engineer unit that is finished. Where would I like to set up some rear defenses? That's actually a really good question. If I had to try to think of a good spot, I think right here, facing here and here, because these places are kind of open, and this place would probably fall well before Reims would, right? Just to have some kind of defensive facing that way. That would be a semi-decent spot for holding that zone, I guess. It would be functional anyway as a fallback position. So let's go ahead and try that. We'll operate it to get it up there as soon as possible. So right here in this clear field, we can go get some of that going. I can fortify right now. Oh, perfect. Well, yeah, we're going to face forward that way because it goes along the river and the town as a decent defensive spot. Let's go ahead and get that building. That was 17 MPPs. We have 11 remaining. Let's go ahead and keep moving this garrison eastwards. 11 MPPs. I guess we'll go ahead and put 1 point into this core and then let that be that. The Frenchies do need to still deploy this battleship at Brest. We do have some destroyers that want deploying. There was another one, I thought. It's just the spot might not be open. I don't know where that was. Was that at Rosyth? It was at Rosyth. Yeah, let's go ahead and change that out. Move you up here for now. That should be fine. 271 MPPs is the Brits. Their research is full. We will try to continue upgrading our ships. First and foremost, get this navy as modernized as we can. So swap you in. Go ahead and upgrade a battleship as well. Upgrade. Upgrade this battleship as well. This stuff does cost quite a bit. Something to keep in mind. We're pretty safe in the channel, if I do say so myself. I should have done a swap there. Yeah, I should have done a swap. That would have timed it better, but level up this carrier. Swap in a battleship. Level up the battleship. What about here at Rosyth? Now, we want to leave him there, though, because when Poland falls, we might be able to keep it. Upgrade. Upgrade. And upgrade. And just like that, that's everything that we can afford to do right now with the ports available to me. In the home isles, the Navy's getting modernized. We have 37 MPPs remaining. That's enough to dump into the tactical bombers, get them up to max. 6 remaining. We'll go ahead and move O'Connor up to the top end. Force march the WDF army in right in front of him. And then get this, oh god, that noise, as far west as possible alongside O'Connor. Probably he's going to want to be right here instead, though, eventually. So we'll need to think about moving that up at some point. But all of their MPPs are spent. Nobody else has any MPPs that I want to spend. And everybody else is in position. And with that, we are blazing through the turns, and we are blaze through this episode. So that's all we have time for today. So I'm going to end this one here. For now, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you're enjoying, and I'll see you on the next one.